Hey everybody, welcome back to Starcub Review. I'm your host as always, Starcub, and tonight's video is going to be an easy, simple one, and that is a review. Finally, last night I watched Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, so this is my review for it finally. Now I know it's late, but I have just been all over the place, so busy that it just got away from me and I never got an opportunity to watch it. So I did last night, as I posted, and I'm going to give my review for it. But before I get into that, I just want to say a huge welcome to all the new subscribers, new people that are watching my videos. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate it. It helps a lot with my confidence as well and doing these videos, as I really enjoy doing them. And to everyone returning, thanks so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. I really do. You guys are awesome. I love you all. So let's get into it. So I did do a review for Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 1, and I will flash it up on the screen for you all, and I will put it up in the little attachment up here during the video. It will flash up, so you can click on the review for that at any point in the video to watch my part 1 video of that when I reviewed part 1. So this is part 2, The Scargiver of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, and I have a lot to say. Now, it's not all negative, and it mostly is positive, with a little critiques here and there and a few nitpicks. But generally, part 2 was fantastic. It was great. Absolutely great. And this is a review. The 2 reviews that I've done is just for the PG-13 releases on Netflix, by Zack Snyder. I will do a review for the uncut R-rated versions later on down the track. I've just got to watch them because I know they're a huge, vast improvement over these 2. And I've heard so much about them, and I love Zack Snyder, and Rebel Moon is... I watched the first one and I was absolutely drawn into his universe, although I had critiques of that at the time, and I still do. But with the uncut versions, I know there's a lot more and adds a lot more character development and that as well, and action sequences and that, which makes it so much better, and obviously comes with the blood and gore and nudity and all of that happy horse shit. Pardon my French, but it's true. But this one basically continues on from where the last one left, where we're still with Cora, Gunnar, Tarek, Nemesis, Titus, and Milius, and they have just, Cora believes that Atticus Noble, who is played by Ed Skrein, after her fight with him in part 1, she believes him to be dead. Turns out he's still very much alive, and it pretty much goes from there, where they have to defend Veld and train up all the villagers there, women and children and men, to fight the Motherworld, all the evil group from the Motherworld. And I have to say, the cast is fantastic as always. The cast is Sophia Botella, Dimijan Honshu, Ed Skrein, Michael Huseman, Duna Bay, Ray Fisher, and Anthony Hopkins as the voice of Jimmy. Now, I have a lot to say about Anthony Hopkins as the voice of the robot Jimmy, the robot knight Jimmy. Absolutely fantastic, but I have lots to say. So that is the general plot, from the Motherworld. That they go out. Cora has to find warriors, scouring warriors from different parts of the world. She finds them, brings them together to help defeat the Motherworld, and also protect Velt, the homeworld in which she now resides on as a fugitive. But also we get more backstory and that on Belisarius, the one she believed to be her savior at the time, big influence, protector, father, and all of that. Turns out he's a nasty piece of shit. And we don't see much of Belisarius in the second one, which is really bizarre. Why in the PG-13 release of this one we don't see a lot of Belisarius, but we see a lot of Atticus Noble. But the cast is absolutely great as their characters. Core is absolutely great. Gunnar, Tariq, Nemesis, Titus, and Milius. They're all fantastic. Although I am gonna little bit of nitpicking here. Some of the backstories for these characters, for the character development in the film, was a little bit disappointing. And I know that there's going to be a lot more in the R-rated version, but I feel being that, the PG-13, I would have at least got more character development from those characters to garner who we're working with and, get to know them a bit more. So I felt like that was a little bit rushed when you finally get to it. Now, there's other things, especially Anthony Hopkins does the voice of the night robot Jimmy. Absolutely fantastic character. I absolutely love Jimmy. Absolutely fantastic choice, Anthony Hopkins. The only problem I have with Jimmy in the second one is he's not in it enough, unfortunately. He's not in it enough, and I don't understand why. I know it's the PG-13 version. You're running for time here, so there's going to be less character development. And I feel out of every single character, Jimmy is one of those ones that is just absolutely fascinating from the first movie to the second movie, and he didn't get a lot of screen time, which I'm a little bit pissed off about, but I'm looking forward to the R-rated version where you'll see more from him. But it just is the voice of Jimmy, which is JC1435. That's his model. He's the last member of a race of mechanical knights. And you get a little bit of backstory in the first one and in the second one, but it's not enough, I feel. And even with the PG-13 release, it should have been more character development with him, because I feel like when it comes up for the most important parts of the movie, he's there, in the ensuing battles, but I feel like his presence in the movie is so mystical and mysterious. Like, he's kick-ass, but there's not enough time to really get that sense that he could have been involved a lot more in the story. And I feel like even with the PG-13 release, he should have had more time to develop as well and be in this movie a lot more than what he is. Now, that's to say the other cast as well, I feel like their screen time was cut back a little bit, and like I said, their backstories were a little weak. Ed Skrein as Atticus Noble, who's the Admiral and Belisarius' right-hand man. He gets resurrected by the Imperium, which is the group from the Motherworld. I feel like Ed Skrein's character in the second one was a little bit, I don't know, it's strange because he really does play a really good villain, but at the same time I feel like it was failing in the second. It didn't feel like he needed to be a real a real threatening presence. And it's exactly the same with Belisarius. And I feel like Belisarius was absolutely, had taken a back seat in the second one, when Belisarius is meant to be the more threatening one. He's the head honcho of the Imperium and the Motherworld. So I don't understand his logic there, Zack Snyder's logic there, but it works. It's crazy. I know these two films together, the PG-13's got poo-pooed, but I enjoyed the heck out of them. The second part, like I said, it was great, but I also feel like I'll have a different opinion on them once I watch the R-rated uncut versions. Now, that's not to say the unrated, the R-rated versions, the uncut versions, they're probably gonna. I've heard that they're so much drastically better, and they add so much more to the world, and it's actually Zack Snyder's true vision for the Rebel Moon franchise, which I absolutely love. And this was labeled as, you know, the adult version of Star Wars, an adult bloody version of Star Wars, which I thought was absolutely great. You know, and I may get a kick in the teeth here from people that like Star Wars, but I feel like Rebel Moon is so much better than Star Wars. I was just never big on Star Wars. I like Star Wars, I was just never big on it. And this franchise, Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder has such a great vision for Rebel Moon, and I really, really put my all into watching these two films, and I could see the potential in both those films, but expand them out. And obviously with his R-rated versions, he's expanded them out so much more, and you get his true scope vision. Now, I really hope in the future, continuing this franchise, that he goes bigger, bolder, badder, bloodier, and really takes us to some really, really dark places within the Rebel Moon franchise, as Cora and her gang continue to fight the Imperium and the Motherworld. Absolutely fantastic to see, and hopefully they allow him, the studio and that Netflix allows him to bring more of his vision out, because I love the Rebel Moon franchise. I'm not going to lie, the Rebel Moon franchise is absolutely fantastic. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Rebel Moon, but I personally loved Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2, though they have their flaws. Both of them do. But I feel like Part 2, even being PG-13, I feel like there was a lot more that should have been in it to really, you know, feel a little bit more meatier in places. But other than that, I had a fantastic time with this film. Absolutely great. I'm glad I got the time to review it now. Absolutely fantastic film. What do I give the Scargiver, Rebel Moon the Scargiver? I will give it a... let me think. I will give it an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10, that's a fair score. It was great, like I said, but it is a vast improvement over the first one. But it has its ups and it has its downs. It has its pros and it has its cons, like the first one. But overall, this movie's great. You'll have a great time with it. Now, I can't wait to get onto the R-rated versions and share them with y'all. Because as far as I'm concerned, Zack Snyder has a vision for Rebel Moon, and I cannot wait to see what it does next. But other than that, thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. I've had a blast making this one, having to talk to you all about it and reviewing it. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and the notification button to keep up to date with all my content. And in the description below, there'll be 2 links, one to my Instagram and one to my TikTok. Check those out, and I will see you all with another video very, very soon. Alright, guys. Ciao.